The dead don't whisper unless they want something every night. The old cemetery keeper heard strange whispers carried on the wind, coming from graves long forgotten, stones worn down by time and rain. He usually ignored them, dismissing them as the wind howling through the ancient trees. But one night, the whispers were different. They weren't just random sounds anymore. They were calling his name. The whisper grew louder, more insistent. It was a voice begging for help, a desperate, raspy cry that seemed to claw its way up from beneath the soil. It knew him. A chilling fear he'd never felt before gripped his heart. But a strange sense of duty pulled him forward. He took his lantern and walked cautiously toward the oldest part of the cemetery, toward the source of the sound, toward a decrepit, unmarked grave. As he drew near, the ground before him began to tremble. Suddenly, a rotten, mud-caked hand burst through the dirt, its skeletal fingers clamping around his ankle like a vice. He cried out as it pulled, the grip inhumanly strong. He stumbled, losing his balance, and fell face first onto the cold, damp earth. The smell of decay filled his nostrils as the hand yanked him closer to the open grave. He kicked and struggled, finally breaking free. But the horror was just beginning. All around him, the earth was churning. Bodies began to crawl out from their resting places, their eyes glowing with a malevolent red light. Their jaws were unhinged, their spines twisting at unnatural angles. These weren't the slow, shuffling zombies from the movies. They were not rising to walk, they were rising to hunt, moving with a terrifying, predatory speed. Panic set in. He fumbled for the matches in his pocket, his hands shaking. He lit his lantern, the flame flickering wildly, casting dancing shadows all around. With a desperate cry, he hurled it into the nearest group of abominations. Boom! The oil ignited, and a wall of fire erupted, spreading quickly through the dry leaves on the ground. The awakened dead shrieked in agony, their skin melting away like wax, the stench of burning flesh acrid in the night air. But the fire only angered the true master. From the largest mausoleum, a massive, ancient corpse began to rise. It was covered in gnarled roots and dark soil, its form towering over the other creatures. This was the Grave Whisperer, the entity that could command the dead with its voice alone. It opened its mouth and let out a guttural roar that shook the very ground he stood on. There was no time to think, only to act. He spotted a heavy, wrought iron cross marking a nearby tomb. He grabbed it, its metal cold against his skin. Rushing to the edge of the inferno, he thrust the cross into the flames, until the tip glowed red hot. With a final, defiant yell, he charged the monster and drove the fiery cross straight into its skull. The Grave Whisperer shuddered, let out a final, silent scream, and collapsed into a pile of smoldering ash. Silence fell upon the cemetery. Exhausted and trembling, he began to walk away, leaving the burning chaos behind him. He thought it was over. But then, a new sound began, soft at first, then growing louder. As he reached the cemetery gates, hundreds of whispers rose from the earth once more, a chilling chorus from every grave, all of them calling his name. The whispers don't stop. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.